Hi and welcome, I'm Gavin Lon. This is the 8th part of a video series dedicated to building a shopping cart application using Blazor WebAssembly on .NET 6. So at this point we have achieved quite a lot. We have created the functionality for displaying grouped products to the user. We have also created most of the functionality for the shopping cart. A user can now add a product to the shopping cart, remove a product from the shopping cart, and can update the quantity of a product that is contained within the shopping cart. So we now need a way for a user to be able to navigate to the shopping cart from anywhere within the application. We also want the user to be able to see at a glance how many items are currently contained within the user's shopping cart. Currently, the user is only able to navigate to the shopping cart through our application by adding a product to the shopping cart. We want the user to be able to see how many items have been added to the user's shopping cart at a glance, no matter where the user is within the application. For example, the user may be viewing the grouped products displayed to the user when the application is first launched and wishes to know how many items are currently contained within the user's shopping cart. We also want the user to be able to navigate to the user's shopping cart through our application from anywhere within the application simply by clicking a button. So we want to make this button accessible to the user from anywhere in the application. So in this video, we'll provide an appropriate solution for this. We'll provide a button in the header part of the UI that when clicked will navigate the user to the user's shopping cart. The quantity of items stored within the user's shopping cart will be displayed on the text of the relevant button. So the quantity value displayed on the relevant button must be kept up to date. So we must facilitate the change of the relevant quantity value whenever the number of items within the shopping cart changes. The code for the button containing the text representing the number of items in the user's shopping cart will be contained within its own Razor component. A Razor component we'll name Cart Menu. So this means we need to find a way to send data to the Cart Menu Razor component from other relevant Razor components, like for example, the Shopping Cart Razor component, whereby code must execute that updates the relevant quantity value when a change to the number of items stored within the user's shopping cart is made. In this video, we'll see how C# events can be used to facilitate communication of data between the loosely coupled Razor components within our application. For content like this and much more, please consider subscribing and please ring the bell so as to be notified of future content. If you like this video, please hit the like button and please feel free to share this video with anyone you feel may benefit from its content. If you'd like to thank me by buying me a coffee, I've included a link to my Buy Me a Coffee webpage. Any support is greatly appreciated. Right, let's get started. Let's go to our Blazor client component. So let's go to the project named shoponline.web. Let's open the iShoppingCart service file. Let's create a definition for a C# event. Note that the action type is a delegate that doesn't return a value. So any method that the relevant delegate points to will be able to accept the arguments defined within the relevant delegate, but the method will not return a value. In our case, any method pointed to by this delegate will accept one argument of type integer. For more information on delegates, please see a video series created by this channel. A link to this video series is provided below in the description. Let's create a definition for a method that is responsible for raising the relevant event to subscribed components. If what we are doing here is unclear to you, don't worry. It will become clearer to you as we develop the code in this video. Okay, so let's open the shopping cart service file. Let's implement the code for the interface items that we have just created. Let's implement the code for the raise event on shopping cart changed method. First, we need to check if our event has any subscribers. We can do this by evaluating the onShoppingCartChanged event object. So if the onShoppingCartChanged object is not null, this means that the event has subscribers. So if the event has subscribers, we need to write code that raises the event to those subscribers. We can do this by implementing the invoke method on the onShoppingCartChanged event object. Then we can send the appropriate integer value to each of our subscribers by passing in the appropriate integer value to the invoke method. So in the context of our application, an example of a subscriber will be a method within the cart menu raiser component that we'll create later in this tutorial. When the quantity of the items stored within the user's shopping cart changes, the event is raised and a custom method that will be created within the cart menu raiser component will be invoked in response to the quantity of items stored within the shopping cart changing. Basically, when the quantity of the shopping cart changes, the event is raised and any subscribed methods are called. This will be clarified with code that we'll create in a bit. So this event being raised will result in the new quantity of items stored within the user's shopping cart being displayed from within the cart menu raiser component. Let's open the productsbase.cs file. Let's write code so that an object of type shopping cart service will be injected into this raiser component at runtime. So the product raiser component is loaded when a user first launches our application. We want the user to be able to see how many items are currently stored within the user's shopping cart when the application is first loaded. So let's first appropriately call code on the server to retrieve the shopping cart items currently stored within the user's shopping cart. I can feel the comments flowing my way already. So I think I'll be preemptive and just say that I'm aware that this may not be the most performant way of doing this. But I want to focus on events in relation to raiser components in this tutorial. We will be optimizing the code in later videos. For example, by including local storage functionality. I don't want to make my videos too convoluted, so this is why I sometimes first create simplistic code in certain scenarios so that momentum is gained in the development of our application. And then, as I said, we can always optimize the code in later tutorials. Right, let's write code to calculate the number of items currently stored within the user's shopping cart. We can then use the shopping cart service object to raise the appropriate event, which will in effect send the quantity of items stored within the user's shopping cart to any subscribers. So this will result in the appropriate quantity value being displayed to the user in the header section of the layout of our application. Let's open the shoppingcartbase.cs file. So we want our event to be raised each time the quantity of items stored within the user's shopping cart changes. Let's create a private method named CartChanged. Let's rationalize our code a bit so that the CartSummaryTotals private method is called whenever this CartChanged method is called. And we want our event to be raised whenever the CartChanged method is called. We want our CartChanged method to be called whenever the state of the user's shopping cart is changed. So let's appropriately call our method from within the onInitialized async method. The delete cart item underscore click event handler method and the update qty cart item underscore click event handler method. Notice that each time we write code to invoke the cart changed method, we are replacing the call to the cart summary totals method with the call to our new cart changed method, because the calculate summary totals method is now being called from within the cart changed method. So let's create the code for the cart menu razor component. This component will be displayed in the header section of our layout for our application. So let's create a razor component called cartMenu.razor within the shared folder. Let's write code so that an object of type iShoppingCartService is injected into our cart menu razor component at runtime. Let's open the _imports.razor file and include a using directive that references the shoponline.web.services.contracts namespace. So we are not using inheritance for this component. So we can instead include code logic for this razor component within the @code section of our razor file. This is because our cart menu razor component is not likely to contain a lot of code logic, so we don't necessarily need to abstract the code logic into a separate base class. Let's define a variable of type integer named shoppingcartItemCount. Let's create an override for the razor component's onInitialized method. This method will be called when our razor component is first rendered. So we want our razor component to subscribe to the event that we created in the shopping cart service class. To achieve this, we can implement this code. This means that every time the relevant event is raised, the shopping cart changed method will be run. So we haven't yet implemented code for the shopping cart changed method, so let's do that. So all we are doing is updating our shopping cart item count variable with the quantity value passed into this method from code that executes to raise the relevant event. Note that we are calling Blazor's built-in stateHasChanged method here. This is an explicit way of telling Blazor, as it were, to re-render the relevant razor component. So we are explicitly telling Blazor to re-render the component after the shopping cart item count variable has been assigned a new value from code that is raising the relevant event. The shopping cart item count will be used in the UI user interface code that we are about to create for displaying the new quantity of items stored within the user's shopping cart. So let's write the UI code, and this must exist outside the @code section. So we want a button displayed to the user that displays a value representing an up-to-date count of items currently stored within the user's shopping cart. We also want a user to be able to navigate to the user's shopping cart when this button is clicked. In order to prevent possible memory leaks, we can write code to unsubscribe from the onShoppingCartChanged event. So to do this, let's implement the iDisposable interface. Then we can implement code for the dispose method to unsubscribe from the onShoppingCartChanged event like this. So you can see that the plus equals operator is used to subscribe to an event, and the minus equals operator is used to unsubscribe from an event. Let's open the main layout Razor component from within the shared folder. This component is responsible for displaying the main UI layout of our application. We can ensure that our cart menu Razor component displays within the header section by including the appropriate tag for our cart menu Razor component here. So let's run the code. Excellent. So notice that when we are using a mobile view, when running the application, we are not able to see our header menu item. So let's write code to allow for users that are using our application in a mobile view to be able to see the count of items currently stored within the user's shopping cart, and also to be able to navigate to the user's shopping cart from anywhere within the application. We can do this by adding an appropriate menu item to the application's main menu for when the application is being used using a mobile view. So let's open the nav-menu.razor file from within the shared directory. This file contains the code responsible for creating our application's main menu. Let's add a new menu item to the main menu like this. Let's write code so that an object of type iShoppingCartService is injected into this Razor component at runtime. In the @code section, let's create a private variable of type integer named shoppingcartitemsCount. Let's implement the code to subscribe to the onShoppingCartChanged event. Let's implement the method that we want executed when the onShoppingCartChanged event is raised. Let's go to the appropriate menu item code and include the shopping cart item count variable so that the user is able to see from this menu item how many items are currently stored within the user's shopping cart. Now, we only want this menu item to be shown to users that are using our application using a mobile view. So we can ensure this by including the d-sm -none bootstrap class within the appropriate HTML element that represents the relevant menu item. Lastly, let's write code so that before this Razor component is garbage collected, i.e. before .NET frees the memory taken up by this Razor component, that the relevant method within this Razor component is unsubscribed from the onShoppingCartChanged event. Let's run the code. Excellent! I hope you've enjoyed this video. I look forward to presenting the next video in this series, where we'll continue to develop our shopping cart application. For content like this and much more, please consider subscribing, and please ring the bell so as to be notified of future content. If you liked this video, please hit the like button, and please feel free to share this video with anyone you feel may benefit from this content. If you'd like to thank me by buying me a coffee, I've included a link to my Buy Me a Coffee webpage. I've also included a PayPal Me link that you can use to support the channel via PayPal. Any support is greatly appreciated. A special thank you to those who have been kind enough to support the channel. It is greatly appreciated. I really enjoy engaging with you in the comments section, so please feel free to leave a comment. The latest code can be found on GitHub. A link to the relevant repository has been included in the description. Thank you and take care.